In a world of high-powered, increasingly electronically enhanced motorcycles, it's kind of reassuring to hear that scramblers are still cool. The retro-styled off-road look continues to be a popular choice in the custom world, and for big manufacturers that means scrambler-styled bikes are still making their way into many of the 2023 lineups. Hello, we are here with new video. If you are new to our video, then don't leave us without subscribing our channel and press the bell icon to all. Thank you. Let's ride. 7. Royal Enfield Scram 411. First up is the Scram 411 from Royal Enfield, the newest and least expensive machine on our list. Looking at its stripped-down, modern style, you might not guess this new scrambler is heavily based on RE's Himalayan adventure bike, but with just a few tweaks, the brand has managed to create what feels like a separate, standalone model. The Scram ditches the Himalayan's adventure Y bits, like the rack, windscreen, and seat, but the main swap is up front, where a 19-inch wheel rolls in place of the Himi's 21-incher. That gives the Scram a more street-going bias, sitting the bike lower and steepening its geometry for quicker steering in a more nimble feel. Other than that, things are mostly status quo on the new model, which, if you're familiar with the Himalayan, is both good and bad. On the positive side, because it shares many parts, the Scram is very nicely priced. On the other hand, the Scram also inherits a 411 cubic centimeters single outputting just 24 HP as well a basic suspension setup and limp brakes, so performance isn't a big selling point. But you do get more than 7 inches of travel front and rear, almost 8 inches of ground clearance, a 4-gallon fuel tank, and an extremely user-friendly power band. That's a heck of a lot of fun and extremely user-friendly off-road. 6. Husqvarna Svartpilen 401. Slipper clutch, ride-by-wire throttle, and respectable WP Apex suspension, all for close to $5,000. You'll find them all on Husky's Svartpilen, which is based on KTM's 390 platform. The slim yet rugged profile sorta looks Scrambler-y if you squint your eyes, and the trellis frame rides on a pair of 17-inch spoked wheels bracketing a liquid-cooled 373 cubic centimeters single-cylinder engine, see, KTM 390 Duke. Unlike the Duke, however, the Svart's power comes on softer and later in the rev range, and don't let those rally tires fool you, this bike is more street than tracker. An off-road style handlebar gives the Svart an upright riding position, and for suspension there's a $43 million cartridge fork and a monoshock, both non-adjustable. While 43 horsepower doesn't sound like a lot, the punchy single makes the bike's 333-pound weight positively fly, and the menu of modern features is pretty nice for the price: ride-by-wire, a power assist and slipper clutch, PSC, and easy shift, so you can shift without the clutch. The Bi-Bree dual disc brakes are enhanced with switchable ABS, and there's a Supermoto mode, which lets you easily slide the rear wheel. Now for the caveats: you get just 5.5 inches of suspension travel on either end, and ground clearance is less than 6 inches, best to choose your intended surface wisely. 5. Triumph Scrambler 900. Triumph was ahead of the pack when it brought out a factory scrambler first back in 2007, which then evolved into the Street Scrambler in 2016. Based on the 900 cubic centimeter Street Twin, that bike oozed retro authenticity, and like almost every other Bonneville-based bike in Triumph's lineup, the Street Scrambler was also given refinements to its engine last year. But for 2023, the only changes are to the name and the colors. It's now called the Scrambler 900. Refined retro is what this bike's all about, boasting a respectable 64 horsepower with a healthy 59 pound-ft of torque from the vertical twin, with a comfortable bench seat, upright ergos, and gobs of classic Brit bike style. You get a 19/17-inch wheel combo, both spoked and both shod with pavement-biased Metzeler Tourance tires, but suspension travel is just 4.7 inches at both ends, so any planned journeys into the dirt should be short and sweet, especially when you factor in the bike's nearly 500-pound wet weight. All in all, the Scrambler 900 is a thoroughly modern ride, bringing a high level of detailing, loads of torque available down low, ABS as standard, and 3 ride modes as well, rain, road, and off-road, but really it's better suited to the street than the trail. 4. Ducati Desert Sled. Although it's listed among Ducati's other Scrambler 800 models, we're calling out the Desert Sled separately because so much of it is different. For one, it's the model most true to the Scrambler ethos with a higher level of capability off-road and a spec sheet that's less friendly to beginning riders. It's taller, for one. That's evidenced by a heavily reinforced frame with a longer aluminum double-sided swing arm, a fully adjustable 46mm upside-down fork with 7.9 inches of travel, a preload, and rebound adjustable shock out back, and spoke aluminum wheels with Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR tires, 19-inch front, to start. It shares the same peppy 70 horsepower air-cooled L-twin engine with its stablemates, but the sled's extra suspension travel, reinforced MX bars, and high fenders are just a few of the things that take it to the next level. Last year it got the Euro 5 updates all the other 800s did, along with LED lighting with DRL, thereby expanding its versatility even more. And the styling, you've got to admit, is just top-notch, especially in the new blue livery. 3. BMW R90 Scrambler/Urban GS. If nothing else, BMW's nailed the styling on its R90 Scrambler model, upping the ante by giving it the same 1,170 cubic centimeters air and oil-cooled flat-twin engine found in G/S, R, and RT models, with an identical output of 109 horsepower and 85 pound-feet of torque, though BMW says it noticeably increased both in the 4,000 to 6,000 RPM range this year. That's a lot of power to control, especially off pavement, yet the Scrambler does sport a revised fuel map as well as a unique high-mount exhaust to differentiate it from the other R90s, and you'll also find slightly more suspension travel front and rear, 4.9 and 5.5 inches, respectively, more rugged finishes, a more relaxed seating position, and a large 19-inch front wheel. A cast wheel is stock. Wire-spoked costs extra. ABS, stability control, 2 ride modes, and LED lighting are all standard, but we'd still consider the Scrambler more of a Scrambler-styled roadster than a true trail conqueror. For almost the same price, BMW also offers the R90 Urban G/S, which is essentially identical to the Scrambler but with slightly different aesthetics, unique headlight cowl, different exhaust, and high-mount front fender, and equally suited to backroad blasts. 2. Triumph Scrambler XC/XE. Although Triumph launched the modern-day production Scrambler resurgence with its original Scrambler back in 2007, its more recent 1200 variants showed the brand was really serious about the segment. Enter the Scrambler 1200 XE and XE, both built on the same tube steel frame and boasting 1,200 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled parallel twin motors designed to power over backroads as well as dirty forest trails in classic British style. Both offer great power, adjustable long travel suspension, and high-end braking setups, but the XE is the softer, more street-oriented of the two. You still get 89 horsepower, 7.8 inches of suspension travel, dual Brembo discs with ABS, 5 riding modes, a 21-inch spoked front wheel with tubeless tires, and traction control on the XE, which sounds like more than enough for most weekend warriors. But if you really want to take it to the dirt, the top of the range and taller XE goes all in, with an 47mm upside-down fork and longer travel fully adjustable suspension with 9.8 inches of travel front and rear, switchable and lean-sensitive ABS, an off-road mode, illuminated switches, and more. Add a decently sized fuel tank, high-mount exhaust pipes, ride-by-wire throttle, and plenty of engine protection as standard, and it's clear either Triumph is a fine choice for true scrambling, or even adventure, duty. 1. Ducati Scrambler 1100 Tribute Pro. The debut of Ducati's 800 cubic centimeters Scrambler brand in 2015 was such a success that the Italians followed it up with larger 1,100 cubic centimeters versions a few years later, but designed to appeal to more experienced riders. There are two models in the series, but we especially dug the throwback cues given off by the Scrambler 1100 Tribute Pro Ducati rolled out last year. That cool Giallo Acqua livery was used on Ducati's twin-cylinder 450 Desmo Mono and 750 Sport back in 1972, and it still holds our eyeballs to this day. Beyond that is the 1100S premium component list, with Öhlins inverted fork and shock, quasi-race-spec Brembo radial brakes, and sophisticated electronics, all of which means it'll be far more comfortable on high-speed roadways than dusty paths. Inside the steel trellis frame sits a 1,079 cubic centimeters L-twin engine, pumping out 86 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 65 pound-feet at 4,750 RPM, with a fully adjustable 45mm upside-down fork and adjustable monoshock paired to a double-sided swing arm. Suspension travel is 5.9 inches front and rear, and the 18-17-inch wire wheel combo is shod with Pirelli MT60 RS rubber, so any off-road forays won't exactly be comfortable, but they are an option.